Hello, welcome back. This is Mark, and today we're going to discuss and learn how to create a VLAN or virtual LAN using Packet Tracer. But before doing that in Packet Tracer, let us first discuss and learn what really is a VLAN. Okay, so VLAN is a virtual local area network, and these virtual LANs are logical group of computers that appear to be in the same LAN irrespective of the configuration of the underlying physical network. Now, the network administrators partition the networks to match the functional requirements of the VLANs so that each VLAN comprises of a subset of ports on a single or multiple switch or bridges. This allows computers and devices in a VLAN to communicate in simulated environment as if it is a separate LAN. So the example of a VLAN setup is this one. Okay, as you can see, all these computers belong to one switch or bridge. However, they are segmented or they are grouped together with respective groupings. So say for example, you have VLAN A, the ones with colored reds. That means this, and this. These computers are connected to one VLAN, okay? And then same goes for the other computers. So that means even if they are connected physically together, they are still separated logically because of the VLAN. Okay, so that means even if these computers here belong to the same wire, they are independent to each other except for these two computers which are connected, which are of the same VLAN. Okay, so there are advantages to setting up this kind of configuration. So let's take a look at the features of VLANs. So features of VLAN. VLAN forms a sub-network grouping together devices on separate physical LANs. The VLANs help the network manager to segment LANs logically into different broadcast domains. VLANs function at layer 2, so data link layer of the OSI model. There may be one or more network bridges or switches to form multiple independent VLANs. Using VLANs, network administrators can easily partition a single switched network into multiple networks depending upon the functional and security requirements of their systems. And VLANs eliminate the requirements to run new cables or reconfiguring physical connections in the present network infrastructure. VLANs help large organizations to pre-partition devices aimed at improving traffic management. VLANs also provide better security management. Okay? And finally, VLANs are more flexible than physical LANs since they are formed by logical connections. So going back to the figure, this is what that VLAN is supposed to function. So only the ones with the reds have a direct communication with each other. That means this VLAN A, the red computers, cannot share or communicate with the other VLANs. Like for example, the green VLAN B. So VLAN B, VLAN D, VLAN B won't be able to communicate with the other VLANs except with their own VLAN. In this way, even if they are connected physically together, but they have security. So the setup of this type of network is dependent on the purpose of the system administrator. It could be security, it could be security, it could be maintenance. Okay, so ultimately it depends on what was the purpose of setting up the VLAN. Okay, so now it's time for us to create a VLAN in Packet Tracer. So the setup is we're going to have three 3 networks or sub-networks, which will be composed of, say, 3 computers also for each, per sub-network or subgroup. Okay, so let's just copy paste that. Okay, and then let's label it with IP address 192.168 that 10 dot or 5 dot 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 and 19. Now, say for example, we will be having, this is the first floor, for you to understand this better. Is, let's have a situation wherein these computers are found on different floors. So this is the first floor computer, second floor, and for some reason there was a shuffling of personnel, so some people would actually be transferred to other floors. Okay, but there should, wherein, and there is also a situation wherein the computers don't have to be moved from one floor to another. Okay, so that means this could be, so let's have a legend here. Says VLAN 1 is for marketing, VLAN 2 is for sales, VLAN 3 is for sales and VLAN 3 is for, just double click on that, production. Okay, so let's have this configured first and connect them to a switch. So there's just one switch and all these computers are connected to the switch. So let's just take note of, for us not to be confused later, we'll just follow the IP addresses and the switch, okay, and the port switch. Okay, so that means I'm going to connect the 11. I haven't configured yet the IP address. Let's configure first the IP address, so we won't forget to configure it later. So this is 11, this is 12, and this is 13, 14, 15, sorry, 15, 16, 17, 18, to correct this, the label supposed to be 18. So, and Last configuration is 19. So this is 19. So we'll just follow, with connecting it to the switch, we just follow the IP address and join it with the same port. So 11 will be connected to 11, 12 will be connected to 12, port 12, and so on and so forth. So straight through. This is 11, and then this is 12, and then this is 13, this is 14, this is 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 19. So let's just wait for it to turn all green, and then let's test it in a while. Okay, so they are all green now. We're going to test communication between all the computers. Okay, so let's use the simulation mode. This one, and then click on the, let's just choose ISNT, edit filters there, and just remove this. Anyway, we can still view the status here below. So from here to here, in progress. Okay, so let's just use the real-time mode so that we will right away see the status here. So successful from 19, I think 19 to 13 is successful. From 15 to 17, it's successful also. From 13 to 16 is successful as well. Last one, let's have this and this. 18 to 12, it's successful. So we have communication between all the computers. Now we're going to set them up for VLAN setup. So we're going to have, say for example, for this, I'm just gonna label it so that you won't get confused on assigning the VLANs. So say for example, for this, let's have this as VLAN 1. Then for this, VLAN 3, and then this is VLAN 2. So for this also, let's have this as to be VLAN 3. Let's have this as VLAN 1. And finally VLAN 2. And then for this, let's have this as VLAN 2, VLAN 1, and VLAN 3. So what we need to do now is to connect all the VLAN 1s with each other, and VLAN 2 with each other also, and VLAN 3. Okay, so we're going to group them. So that means at the end, when we test them, VLAN 1 computers should not be able to communicate with other VLAN. Okay, only VLAN 1 will be able to communicate with VLAN 1, VLAN 3 with VLAN 3 only, and VLAN 2 with VLAN 2. Let's just gonna move this computer so that the labels will be visible. Okay, so let's have VLAN 1 first. So how do we do that? the configuration actually is in the switch. We don't configure anymore on the PCs. So since we are aware when we set it up that the VLAN, that the port address will be the IP address, is connected to the IP address, so it's easy for us to set up now. So right now, again, I'm gonna click on switch, and then basically it's in the physical tab. What you need to do is click on the config tab, and then from here you see the clickable commands here, and then below are the equivalent iOS commands. So whatever we do here, we click and select, it actually is doing commands. Okay, and next laboratory or next exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to use purely the CLI. We won't use this, but for purpose of using the graphical user interface, we're going to use this part. So the port 11 is VLAN 1. So port 11. So when you click on 11, these are the properties of port 11. So basically you have here the VLAN 1, and when you click the VLAN tab or drop down, what you see are the default VLANs. So the default VLANs that are present already in the switch is 1002, 1003, 1004, and 1005. So these are special VLANs, but the default ones is the 1. So there are 3 VLANs that we made, VLAN 1, 2, and 3. So we already have 1. All we have to do is just add VLAN 2 and VLAN 3. Okay, so let's add. But for this one, we already have as VLAN 1, so we have assigned it already to VLAN 1. So that's not a problem anymore. Okay, so but let's take a look at the VLAN database. So that we'll just add the VLAN 2 and the VLAN 3. So you click on the VLAN database, and then that's the time you click on the VLAN number. So VLAN number, let's have it as 2, and then VLAN so VLAN 2 is sales, sorry. So this has to be sales. Add, and then for 3, what's that? Production. Add. Okay. So okay. Anyway, we already have 1, so we don't have to put a label, but we can also do as well marketing. Let's try to change it if we can do that. Or we can change it because it's the default. Okay, anyway, what matters is the VLAN number. But next time, if you like to have another, the one with a label on its own label, you have to add another VLAN number. Okay, so for this tutorial, we won't have to change the name, okay, because it's a default. So what's important is we have 3 VLANs, which are 1, 2, and 3. So going back, so this is for the 11, we have to set it as VLAN 1. So click on 11. Now it's VLAN 1. So next one is 12. For 12, the VLAN has to be 3, right? So it has to be verse 3. Click on 3. There. And then for VLAN for 13, it's going to be VLAN 2. Then for 14, 3. Click on 14, VLAN 3. And then for 15, VLAN 1. 15, VLAN 1, it's okay. And 16, VLAN 2. 16 VLAN 2, and then for 17 VLAN 2, 17 VLAN 2, for 18, that's VLAN 1 already. Okay, we have that as VLAN 1, and finally 19 as VLAN, sorry, we have to change, this has to be VLAN 3. So let's go there. 19 is supposed to be VLAN there. So there we go. So we're just going to wait for all of them to turn green. Okay, so everything is green. So when we check, expectedly, if we check between from one VLAN to another VLAN, the status should be failed. But if we are going to ping or send a message from the same VLAN, it should have a successful status. Let's try it. So VLAN 1 to VLAN 1, VLAN 1 of this to VLAN 1 of this. Successful, correct. And then VLAN 1 of this to the VLAN 1 of this one. That's successful also. How about from different VLAN? So VLAN 1 to VLAN 3 in progress, this should be failed. So that's what it's supposed to have. So it's failed, that means we did the right thing. Another is VLAN 1 to VLAN 2 of this. This should be failed also. Okay. And finally, how about VLAN 3 to VLAN 3 of this? What should be the output? It should be successful. Okay, that's successful. Let's try it again. From VLAN 2 to VLAN 2 of this one here, this should be successful, and it's successful. And how about this? VLAN 3 to VLAN 3 of this one here. This should also be successful. But VLAN 3 to VLAN 2 should not be successful. It should be failed. Okay, so that's it. So we have created 3 VLANs, but actually we just created 2 because there was VLAN 1 was the default. But the point is we have separated them into 3 VLANs. Okay, so that's the end of how you create VLANs using the graphical user interface. And next time, what we're going to use is the CLI or command line interface in creating the VLANs. Okay, so thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.